Hey folks, I am Becky with Enduring Finances. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome for the first time if you're just joining us. Today is a special video. I'm doing my annual breakdown of my entire stock portfolio from all of the 60 plus different companies that I own inside of it. And yeah, I'm just going to be fully transparent with every single share that I own in one combined post. I've been doing my monthly dividend breakdowns for over almost 2 years now, for a while now. So if you're interested in those, you should check out the playlist I have that breaks down the monthly dividend earners that I have, as well as how I'm reinvesting month after month. But let's go ahead and jump into my full look back on my personal stock portfolio for 2023. And all of this data is going to be pulled at the very end of December 31st, going into January 1st of 2024. So as fresh and as close and concise as information as I can. I guess I should say that I have a self-directed stock portfolio through Ally. I have been with them for years since they bought out TradeKing. And my overall goal for my portfolio is to function as a long-term dividend growth account. I am focused primarily on the dividend returns, so that dividend yield, and not so much on the market increases as far as companies. So that drastically impacts how I invest and reinvest my money into my portfolio. As far as the long-term goals that I have, let's jump in to take a look-see at those. We can see that my long-term goals down here are to reach a portfolio value of $600,000, which would be earning about 4% annually. And that's in dividend returns, not in market increases there. That would be about $2,000 a month on average in dividend returns, or about $65.75 a day on average in that dividend yield. My goals for 2023, we did okay with that. My biggest one that I didn't hit was earning $1,275 in dividends. I came really close. We earned just shy of $2,000 even with that, so we were really close, $75 off. Essentially, we just needed another month. But we did reach a portfolio value of $32,500. We did reach $105 in monthly dividend return, and an average of $3.45 a day on dividends. And this is just my tracking sheet. This is in my monthly breakdown as well, where I just get to check it off essentially as we go along, increasing the portfolio value, increasing the average monthly dividend return, and increasing the average daily dividend return. But right now my portfolio is valued at the end of 2023 going into 2024 at $33,090.94. Great year, really good year actually. Very happy with that. As far as goals for 2024, we'll just do those real quick since we're here. I want to earn $1,400 in dividends this year, reach a value of my portfolio at $34,000, reach $110 monthly dividend average, and $3.60 a day on average daily dividend income. So those are the goals for my portfolio. So last year I actually did a portfolio breakdown as well. So if you want, you can go ahead and check out that one as well. I'll link to it up here. But I ended 2022 with my portfolio being valued at $28,912, and it is jumped up to over $33,000 for a gain of 14.54% overall, just shy of $4,200, so he came in at like $4,178, which is really well for my portfolio. I'm very happy with that, especially with my goals. The S&P 500 came in at just about 24% for the year. Overall, it was a pretty crappy year. Most of the stocks and companies were really down as far as stock prices until November and then December, and it kind of peaked and jumped up there. So we had a huge increase in November and December and just corrected this huge thing. So I'm very happy with hitting a 14.5% increase in the year. Like I said, my investing strategy is different than just investing in the stock market as a whole or as a bulk. I'm focused primarily on keeping a less risky portfolio that earns dividends on a continuous basis. So we're doing good with that. So my portfolio did really well. The stock market did really well for the end of the year. Let's go ahead and jump into the overview of my entire portfolio. I have multiple different spreadsheets that I use to track different things because I'm a nerd and I accept that wholeheartedly. But this spreadsheet right here that I'm going to show you is my overall breakdown for my portfolio. I do this every year and just kind of keep updating it so I can see how I've changed. But right here we can see the different sectors that I have broken down between finance to materials and all those things. And we have my target, my percentage of my portfolio that I want invested in each one of those sectors. And then we have the actual percent of my portfolio that is invested in each one of those. And this is based off of my total portfolio value coming in at $33,000 and some change. So this is all set up with formulas inside my spreadsheet, so they update as the values of the stocks in the individual sectors increase or decrease, and so it's constantly changing throughout the day as stock prices are going up and down. And then I have my total dividend yield for each one of these companies here. I do it a little weird so I can see it differently, but we can tell right away that real estate and finance are my two biggest dividend yield returning sectors. And then I have the individual dividends from each one of those sectors for each month broken out here. And this is where I get, how much percentage I'm getting from those on this side and how much monthly I'm seeing to see an average return down here. And then for those of you that are more visual, here is just a, what is this called? A little chart, a pie chart of what I want for my stock portfolio to be at: 25 cents finance, 15% tech, blah, blah, blah. And this is what it actually is over here, 25%, 20%, 14%. So this shows a more accurate picture of what it is from a visual standpoint in case, you learn that way. So there's that. And this just automatically updates, and it updates from different tabs. So let's jump into the finance tab we have here. And so this is just broken down all the individual stocks that I have invested in or I'm considering investing in each one of these sectors. So we just have the symbols here: Bank of America, Royal Bank of Canada, all of those right here. Different prices, and in my spreadsheet, not this one, in my main spreadsheet that is constantly updating, there's a special tab in Excel where you can do stock, and I can essentially go in, type in the symbol, the ticker symbol for each one of these companies, and it will populate, and then I can just pre-populate the price and the value, and there's a whole bunch of information that you can add in there. And so it automatically readjusts that price when I refresh the data because I'm connected to the internet. So I don't have to go in and manually add in all the price changes that are happening. But I won't talk about that in this video. So that's automatically updating here. But it breaks down the price, how many shares I have, my overall value, the gain and loss that I've seen on each one of those, the dividends that I'm seeing, and then the actual payout combined with the dividend yield and the amount of shares I have, and then just the average, the breakdown of what it is inside of that sector, because we take it one step further from having my overall portfolio broken down into sectors to each one of my sectors being broken down into individual stocks with target percentages for those stocks based off of my personal opinion and the research that I've done. And so I try and hit these target percentages here, and these are the actual percentages here, and it just kind of fluctuates with what I'm seeing. I have a master sheet of stocks that I kind of plug in and play with as I go along and reevaluate. But this is the finance sector. As far as tech, it looks pretty straightforward. We do have the biggest company in my portfolio is Apple right here. It makes up more than 47% of the tech sector, not my entire portfolio. But again, we've got ticker symbol AAPL, AVGO, which is the second biggest company, all the way down to Microsoft here. So this is my tech sector. As far as real estate is another bigger one. We have one of my long-term companies, New York Mortgage Trust. They did a cut down on their dividend. So I used to be making $40 a quarter with this, but we dropped down to $30 a quarter. But I'm still happy with the company here. So yeah, this is my real estate sector. And then consumer staples, we have Costco, which is one of my favorite companies here. Very good one here. Coming in at 41% of this sector. So we're trying to rebalance that out, and we'll focus on bringing it to flow and ticker symbol HRL, which I actually closed out of this last year, just because they've been going through a lot of fluid changes and all things, and so and for tax reasons because I was at a loss, and so I sold at a loss, which means my profit from dividends and all the things that I've done with my portfolio actually decreased. So I lowered my taxes by selling at a loss, and then hopefully once they get through all this correction inside the company, I can repurchase the shares and be either exactly where I was or in a better spot. So that's the goal with that. As far as utilities, we have, again, one of my favorite companies, ticker symbol SO, which is Southern Company. These are really good companies here, but this is the breakdown for utilities. As far as healthcare, still looking good again here. Those targets, the dividend payouts. Yeah, Pfizer is the big one that most people will know, and Johnson & Johnson, but there is that. And then the energy sector is doing okay. It's doing okay. We've got some bigger balls in here, but keep reinvesting, keep doing what we need to do. As far as telecommunications, we have ticker symbol SIRI and T, which is AT&T. AT&T makes up drastically the entire percent of this portfolio, with just over 95% of this sector in my portfolio. So we'll kind of even that out, and there's not a lot of companies inside this sector that I really like. So, but remember, this is only a percentage of my portfolio because this is just a sector. So this is just how I weight different companies within it. And then we have bonds and ETFs. And I own two right now, BNDX and TROW, and it's just because I don't want to spend as much time investing into the bond and debt side of things than I do the stocks. I don't get as much enjoyment researching it, and it would take me longer to build a balanced sector in my portfolio for that. So I'm just doing ETFs right now. BNDX is my primary one for that. Happy with it. Moving on. All right, to industrials. Now we can see we have a lot of companies here that I have not invested in yet, but I'm still looking at what I want. This is based on the economy and then where I'm investing and how I'm rebalancing my portfolio. But these are ones that EPS, these are all ones that I'm considering investing in and moving forward with that, and just kind of, it's a long-term game. We're in a long-term game with this. And then consumer discretionaries, again, not a lot of these are invested in yet. This is just because this is a more high-functioning, high-prosperity economy, where people can choose to, buy more expensive shoes or go on more trips or buy Disney or do those things. And so just consumer staples are more of the food things. You have to be able to eat. You have to have your energy and your utilities and all those things. With this, consumer discretionary, you don't necessarily need it. So that's where we come into that. As far as materials, only 3 right here. We're invested in all of them here, pretty close to the breakdown that I want. This is probably the closest that I have for that. So let's go ahead and jump into the top percentage of my portfolio, and this is the companies that hold the largest percent of my portfolio. You can guess the top one is Apple, ticker symbol AAPL, coming in at 9.31%. Second one is Broadcom Incorporated, AVGO, at 6.75%. Costco is just shy of 6%, and we go down the list ending with New York Mortgage Trust at 2.58%. So these are the biggest companies inside of my portfolio, and I did a calculation based off of all of the stocks that I own, and my average is 1.54%. So we've increased the average. It used to be below 1%, so now it's about 1.5%. So that just gives you a little baseline that these are the biggest ones, and then average is going to be 1.54%, with these impacting that as well. And then my top dividend earners that I own are New York Mortgage Trust, NLY, OHI, RITM. These are real estate right here, so those are really high, actually all 4 of those. So those are really high dividend returns. We can see that from my overview page where it has the most percentage of dividend returns, that in finance. We have ticker symbol T, SO, ABGO, which is, a bigger one there, and then EFC. So a lot of these are going to be that real estate and those finance sectors, or the bigger companies that I own in my portfolio, just because I'll be making more money from them. Let's jump in really quickly to see how I rebalanced my portfolio over the year. You can see I have a list here of all of the stocks that I purchased, just a straight off list here. We did have store closeout at the very beginning of this year. They were acquired by a different company. I can't remember off the top of my head. But they were acquired by a different company, and so they purchased all of the shares that I owned and everybody else's. So that one we lost out of. It was a really good real estate company. And then I sold my 3 shares of HRL this last month, December. Yeah, I sold off December, and then we purchased all of these shares here for a total of 61 shares that we purchased. This is just the total, including the ones that we got rid of or had taken away. I broke it down by each one of the sectors that I invested in as well, in case you like to look at it like that. So we have real estate, all of the different impacts as far as companies that I invested in, how much I bought each one of the shares and what month I did it in, healthcare, tech, bonds and ETFs, consumer staples. Moving down, we got finance as well, and then utilities. And then, of course, just the last swing trades that I dabble a little bit in swing trades. Sometimes I just want to do it, and so I do it. And that's pretty much it. Most of them were November. I did one in October, but November, and then a couple in December, just because I wanted to. So we paid 24 cents in fees for that and made a profit of $5.36 off 11 trades. And most of the time I was throwing around, $100, $15, $100, $50, $40. So less than $150 to make that. But those are all the swing trades that I made. But yeah, so those are just the swing trades that I made. That's just a little blurb so that you can see it if you're interested in that. I do want to mention that I have a website that I post different articles that I write about dividends and things like that, and it's not very big, it's just small. Mostly it's me vlogging about my dividend income returns. So you can see that in a written format if you'd like. I also do this post as well on that, and I have a PDF file of all of the holdings that I own that you can download directly from my website. It's safe, there's no bugs or anything like that. Or if you want, you can just scroll through it. It shows up on the website and you can just take pictures or screenshot it or whatever you want to do with that. And it has all of the pictures from my Excel sheet and this video already on that. So you can check out that if you would like. I think I just kind of want to end saying it was a good year. I'm happy to make, over 14% return on my portfolio. But this investment strategy that I have is different than what everybody else is investing in. I'm not saying that you should copy my exact portfolio and my investing strategy and do everything that I do. And I'm not saying that. I'm not trying to do that at all. I also highly encourage you not to invest in individual stocks, especially if you only have a little bit of money and you put all your eggs in one basket. You can lose your money if the company gets bought out or goes downhill and goes bankrupt. I've had companies go bankrupt that I own, and I've lost money from that. What my goal is 1, I enjoy doing it. 2, I have a bachelor's degree in business and have studied a little bit of finance, and sometimes I feel like I know what I'm doing, and a lot of times I'm probably making a lot of mistakes. And I know in the long run I will make less money from my dividend portfolio than I would if I were to invest the money straight into an ETF or a mutual fund that tracks like the overall stock market. So that would be the biggest thing if you were like, man, I want to get into investing and I don't know where to start. I would say do some research, invest in a 401k or a 403b or an IRA, retirement account, a TSP as well for government employees, and start investing in that. If you don't know what to do, the least worst thing you could do is invest in like a target date fund that says you retire like in 2050. Then it invests based off of the risk of your age and when that happens. Or find a fiduciary investment. Yeah, a fiduciary. Yeah, a fiduciary financial advisor, they have the obligation to do what is best for you, and typically don't take a 1% every single year off of that, like a lot of financial investors and advisors do for that. But invest in ETFs and mutual funds, and make sure that if you're not having a financial advisor help you, and you're investing in an IRA or some type of retirement account, that it is actually invested into an investment. Some people have made the mistake of putting money into their IRA thinking they're doing a really good job, and then they realize that they only completed the first step, which was open the account, put money in the account, but they never went through with the second step of choosing an investment movement. So they didn't invest the money, it's just sitting in there like a bank account. So don't let that be you. Double check your investment accounts, make sure that you are actually invested into different strategies, different things. Go and be smart, and don't make risky decisions. And if you really enjoy dividend income and money and stocks and all the things, feel free to do your own portfolio. Like, you only live once. If you enjoy it, do it, but be smart about it and take on the risks that you can handle. Like, invest the money that you can lose if you're doing it on your own. And hopefully you had a really good year and you've learned something. If you have questions, please feel free to reach out to me. You can leave a comment down below. You can shoot me an email at enduringfinances@gmail.com. You can leave a comment on my website. I have Facebook, I have Instagram, I have Pinterest. Like, feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions, or you want to, I don't know, talk about something. But yeah, this brings out my nerdy side, and hopefully you learn something and enjoy it. And I am excited to see what 2024 brings. So I'm going to end it here, and I look forward to giving you my first dividend portfolio update for January. Bye, guys.